A century after it was fought, the Battle of the Somme still divides opinion. About one thing there is no dispute. It was a battle in which a civilian army served and sacrificed, and it changed the way the British viewed war forever. After the old professional British Army had been destroyed in the early battles of the war, the government, foreseeing a long conflict, set about recruiting a huge new army of short-service soldiers to replace it. By the beginning of 1916, almost 3 million men were under arms. They volunteered from across Britain and the world, yet it was still not enough for the industrial warfare that would come to dominate the battlefield. And in March 1916, conscription was introduced. At the same time, the army was planning a summer campaign to relieve pressure on the beleaguered French elsewhere on the Western Front. Since the new conscripts would not complete training until the autumn, the army that launched the assault on the Somme would consist of reservists, territorials, and the new recruits of 1914 and 15. The attack was preceded by an 8-day artillery bombardment. Intended to weaken the German defences, all it served to do was warn them of the attack. At 7:30 in the morning of July 1st, 1916, the whistles blew and the men advanced from their trenches. The dockers and stockbrokers, bus drivers, shop workers, farmhands, bricklayers, bank clerks, school teachers, different professions, nationalities and classes, but every one of them there through choice. By the end of the first day, 60,000 were casualties and 20,000 of them were dead. 300,000 more were to die on both sides during the Somme campaign, which lasted another 141 days. As attempts to break the stalemate ground on, the High Command made the first use of tanks on the battlefield. Command of the air became a key factor, and as the conscripts became available, they too were thrown into the battle, but the hoped-for breakthrough never came. When the offensive was called off on November 18th, the Allied front line had advanced, though not as far as the original objectives. Allied troops had died in their tens of thousands, but the German army too had been badly weakened. The new British civilian army had been an instrument in a war of attrition. The Somme campaign may have contributed to an ultimate Allied victory, but, for as long as we remember, the arguments will rage about the cost.